Welcome everyone to this Glasgow Frightfest 2025 episode of the Caravan Tour of Terror, a show that finds us touring the globe through the medium of horrific, chilling and disturbing entertainment. My name's Donald, I'm the driver on this quest. Joining me at my side, as always, is my navigator Ali, although he's slightly surplus to requirements this time since we're in Glasgow, but never mind. Say hello, Ali.
Oh, I will be navigating, don't you worry. Hi.
Metaphor. Great. So we went to Frightfest again, this time in Glasgow rather than London last time.
Well, yeah, this is what, year 6?
It's been many years we've been going. I'll be honest, I was slightly dubious about the lineup this year, but never mind, we'll address that as it comes up. But this will be
We'll address that.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll give an overall impression at the end. But I was slightly concerned that.
Do you want to give your caveat right now?
I've not seen 4 of them, but so So the festival's Friday and Saturday, but I departed not due to anything I had experienced at Frightfest. I departed Saturday afternoon because I was double booked. And never mind, it's not your fucking business what I was doing. But I wasn't there. So Ali will be able to give you 4 completely unchallenged opinions about films that I have not yet seen. But I'll try and catch them in the future.
Can't wait.
If he says I should. If it's worth my time and bother to do so.
Let's get rolling, eh?
Yeah, let's get rolling. So this is a non-spoilers, light, fancy-free discussion of Glasgow Frightfest 2025.
Yeah.
Go.
So, go. We started on Friday at 1 p.m. Nice afternoon start with House of Ashes, the opener of our 11-movie extravaganza, directed by Izzy Lee. And as always, I take the descriptions written on the Frightfest website, because this is what we had going into them.
Yeah.
Imagine being jailed for an everyday occurrence beyond your control, something your body decides for you. In the USA, land of the free, this could happen to you if you have a uterus, depending on where you live. The terrifying rise of the treatment of women in the socio-political backdrop for this cautionary tale, where Mia is under house arrest but must also contend with the suspicious death of her husband. There, Mia experiences strange phenomena that could be man-made or supernatural, or both. One thing is clear, Mia is in danger and cannot leave her home.
Okay, where to start with that as a synopsis? Jesus.
Where to start?
I'll leave that for a second, and I'll just say, I don't remember thinking, wow, I'm in for a political roller coaster here. Like a message. I actually mainly was like, oh, they're cool. Like, this will be a house arrest horror film. I think that's always a good concept that is never used. I actually at the time was like, when do we see that? And was it you that said Housebound? And I was like, good point, but Housebound isn't quite the same as what I'm after, because I like good excuses for keeping people in haunted house situations. It works well for me. And this movie quickly fell apart when we realised it was terrible. There you go. No, so it started off kind of okay. You could tell it was a bit low budget. Which is fine. You get plenty of low budget films.
It's not the lowest budget we saw
it's not.
Weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
There was one that got called out for that. Not called out, but in a good way.
Yeah. But you usually get your heady mix of, like, there's a couple of real low budgets, there's some foreign film, there's maybe 1 or 2 that are a bit more just under the cusp of mainstream level of quality in terms of, not quality, but, in terms of production, like they can, they look pretty...
We have seen... at Frightfest Glasgow, in the 6 years we've been, we have seen the most expensive Italian movie ever made, and several movies made for under 20 grand.
Yeah. 10 grand.
Like that, no, totally, yeah. But that gives you the scale of what movies are at Frightfest.
On that scale, you could tell this was low budget. I was like, it might be okay. So the main protagonist's boyfriend, which was also confusing because I think everyone in the audience was like, brother? No, his boyfriend. His performance from the get-go and throughout is quite weird and distracting and laughable and iconic.
Odd and it's super weird. It's so like, and I like, the only spoilers I'm going to give are like opening thing. Like I'm not going to give heady spoilers into any of these movies. But this movie opens up with a pretty long dialogue of how she got arrested.
Yeah.
Right. So she got arrested because she had a miscarriage. And then her husband died and she got arrested for that. But then no charges were pressed for the husband. But then we see her coming into the house with a police officer getting put under house arrest.
Very funny.
Yeah, oh my god, the police officer.
He's like a wrestling villain. He chooses scenery from the get-go and throughout. It's like, piece of shit, you listen to me.
So that's what we don't get a time scale of any of this.
Yeah.
And then the first thing we see is her walking into that house.
Yeah.
We don't know whose house it is.
Yeah.
And she hugs
a guy.
Man.
Yeah. And your natural expectation would be she's being released into the care of someone part of her family because he's been in prison.
So literally at that point, my thought was like, okay, so this is her brother. Yeah. Like she's getting released into the care of that. Because my last thought on, okay, so she's just had a miscarriage and her husband's dead and she's been arrested twice. No way in hell can this be a romantic interest.
You've not seen Love After Lockup. They're on the dating websites immediately. It all goes tits up as soon as they get released.
Okay, I haven't, but I'm going to say that she is not one of those women.
Yeah, well, I think it's also confusing because the two of them share negative chemistry with each other in terms of romance.
Oh my god, the chemistry is unreal in how bad it is. And the way, like, I mentioned this to you right after we saw it, that there is one longer scene with her and her dead husband, flashback, obviously. And the chemistry between them is so
and his acting
good.
for how little we saw of it.
Yeah, that one scene.
There's only a few actors in the whole film, so
yeah. And to be honest, her performance through the rest of it is not the best, but also their chemistry is zero.
Yeah.
Like when you see her with this other actor, the two of them, like this scene could be another movie and I would watch it. Like it's genuinely good. They have like, it seems realistic.
Yeah.
It's heartwarming, and then you're dragged straight back into this mess of a movie.
yeah. Now I will also say that the synopsis, color me cynical. The synopsis is talking all about that miscarriage law thing that you discussed. I'm not going to repeat it verbatim, but the film doesn't really particularly tackle that in any way to the point where I'm suspicious that they added it in later. I don't. I think she went to jail for her husband's murder, and I don't think there was a baby involved. Because if you take out the bit at the start, and there's one scare that doesn't make sense that involves a child, then it's not really got much to do with. Like you could easily take it out, and there's nothing.
Are you saying they got to the end of the movie and they were like, okay, so she's under house arrest because she's because the they think she murdered her husband, and then at the end we find out that no, she didn't murder her husband, and it was this guy. Then why is she under house arrest? Fuck! Fuck! Right, okay, right. We can't rewrite this movie. What if? Politics. Yeah, it plays such a small part in the movie. Like, you think that the parole officer and the miscarriage are going to play a bigger part in it, and they do not.
Yeah, they don't. They actively set things up for the parole officer that don't pay off. It's very weird.
And the miscarriage is only, I think it's only mentioned a couple more times, mostly to do with I need to put the baby's things away, but it's mostly the husband things that they talk about.
Yeah.
Like the baby stuff is such a small part of it.
So
it's so weird.
yeah, I mean, I might just be being cynical. I don't want to, it feels as objectively thin, and I think that's unwise for hot button issues to then apply to apply it very thinly to your film. Like, that's not what you should be doing with those kind of things. You've got to go all in, or maybe just steer clear. Anyway, so I think that's it. I actually just remembered I did write some notes about this. And I can't say... Oh, the lighting. Yeah, the lighting was awful because there was no darkness in the film. It was mostly... blue light. Well, yeah, so for nighttime, it was a blue light, but then there was a lot of kind of bright colored lighting stuff in the film. It wasn't just blue light, but I think overall like really bright blue lights trying to be nighttime just really takes you out of... I just can't find it that atmospheric. And this film already had zero atmosphere, so that didn't help.
And also heavy use of Dutch angles.
It doesn't bother me, but you and your hatred for the Dutch angles.
I'm known for my love of the Dutch angles.
Now, at the time I gave this 4 out of 10, I think I should give it 3 out of 10, actually.
I was also thinking 3 out of 10. I thought a 4 out of 10 is insanely generous.
Yeah, there's nothing really that redeemable, but it was funny. Oh, that's why. It's because it was funny. So the theater that we were in was laughing a lot, and that is another issue. I hate when Frightfest makes me uncomfortable. God damn it! That actress, I think it was that actress, wasn't it? I think she flew over from America, and I think she was there for the whole goddamn festival. I'm pretty sure I clocked her. Like,
was she? I thought the director was there.
I'm sure I saw... Well, if it wasn't her, it was her doppelganger. The thing is, see, when the Q&A started for this film, I was like, I need to get out of here, because I really... It's okay a bit when it's stuff like The Ledge from whatever year that was, where the guy was taking it all in his stride, but it just makes me supremely uncomfortable when what I assume is someone is showing their art and everyone just collectively decides it's bullshit, which it is bullshit, but I just don't want to be confronted with that horrible that cringe. I can't handle the cringe. I just feel sorry for them. I can't help it. So anyway, thanks filmmaker. God damn it, I root for all filmmakers. Do good work.
Yeah, so I agree, 3 out of 10.
Do not seek out.
Do not seek out. Yeah,
I don't know if, and I will say, I don't know if it would be funny.
No,
outside.
I don't think it's I don't think it would be an enjoyable watch.
It would be very boring. I think. Where it was just collectively, it was quite funny, but
yeah,
it's a different
weird opener.
Yeah, strange.
Next movie was at 3:30, The Last Sacrifice, our first of 2 documentaries. One of the things that made you wary of this.
Yeah, I like some documentaries. I mean, there's some documentaries that are really right up there for me, like Icarus, Murder Ball, Last Breath. There's some amazing documentaries out there, but I was like, that's not really what I want to go to Fright Fest for. And on paper, this one and the one that's coming up next, I was like, I don't know, it's not really the kind of film I would seek out. Like, and it's hard to be... Well, I thought anyway, I was like, am I going to be that surprised by a documentary? But anyway, summarize it and I'll tell you if I was surprised by it.
So directed by Rupert Russell, again from Frightfest website. Did you know the real-life 1945 witchcraft killing of Charles Walton was the terrifying event that inspired the classic shocker The Wicker Man? From filmmaker Rupert Russell comes an incredible documentary that looks into the dark heart of Britain and finding a country in a deep and frightening identity crisis, with an almost national descent into madness reflected in the strand of cinema it produces. A brave new exploration of how events within society can become mirrors of the times they occur in. This unsettling true crime interrogation probes into the eerie, enigmatic cultural undercurrents that shaped the 1970s folk horror genre.
Yeah. So this was mostly, it was a bit of talking heads. It was mostly archival footage and talking heads, which was definitely to its benefit because it was discussing a murder and things, but it used footage from movies of the time that were that sort of theme of witchcraft and things like that to kind of illustrate what it was doing. And I thought it was very good in that sense. I thought it looked really high budget and good. Like it was quite glossy. Like it had like the graphical stuff and the use of archival footage, even the talking heads. I thought it looked really quite good. Especially because we just had the film before it, which really did not look good at all. So it kind of framed this murder, and its central conceit was that murder. Oh god, it's kind of messy actually with what I was trying to say, I think. But anyway, it was kind of talking about how that murder inspired the Wicker Man. I feel like that's what they started with. They were like, right, this they say this inspired the Wicker Man. Right, this is the starting point. And then they kind of mashed in a lot of Britain in the late 60s, flower power revival, swinging 60s into the 70s. There was like a Wiccan witchcraft thing, which was definitely a sex thing. So it talked a lot about that.
Like a revival?
Yeah, I don't. Well, was it there before? I mean,
resurgence.
180. So, and what I was surprised with was it's quite funny. Like, it had quite a lot of laughs because it was basically a lot of interviews with people that were there at the time, and they're so stoic and normal about it all, and it really deadpan. Which there was a lot of good, fun laughter in it. And that was mostly about the overarching scene at the time, the 60s and 70s. But it kind of had three things that it didn't quite. I'm kind of all over the place, but the film was all over the place. So it kind of started talking about this murder, and I knew from the synopsis that it was talking about this murder and did this influence, blah blah blah. It was a famous unsolved murder, and I looked up and I was like, this sounds like a thin premise for a documentary. And it turns out it kind of was a thin premise for a documentary because it kind of used that and jumped away from that, but kept coming to talk about like Britain in the 60s and 70s and the Wicker Man and film. And it kind of kept coming back to the murder, but I'm like, just fucking forget about the murder, because the murder is not really consequential to the other stuff that you're talking about that was more interesting. And because you had good interviews with people that were there at the time talking about what it was like to like get naked and do like a ritual and stuff like that, and like people that were really like, they had archival TV footage of these people being interviewed, and there was lots of cocks a flapping and tits a wobbling, and they're right there. Like there, she's 80 now, and I'm like, good on you. But then, like, so those were the bits I mean, I just feel the audience had much more reaction to, because there was like, it felt more real. It didn't feel like some, because the talk about the murder was very like, oh, could it have been? What could it have been? And the summary of the murder is no one knows, it's unsolved. And to its credit, the film does talk about the more rational explanation for what it was, which was, it's bullshit. Basically, all the witch stuff is bullshit. But that's not, you never know. But I'm glad that it did stress that, because throughout the film, I was like, he just fucking lied. It is bullshit. And thankfully, the film said that. And I was like, thank God the film said that too, because otherwise I would have been pissed off. And it did kind of drag a bit. So I think it was frustrating for me, because I feel like there is a really good documentary in here, but I don't know if some bits needed to be chopped and other bits needed to be developed a bit more, something like that. It's only 85 minutes or 90 minutes, right? It's not
90 minutes, yeah.
But I think everyone felt it was a bit long. And there was a point where I was like dozing off slightly, and I'm like, it's not that long a film.
So the thing I will say about it is, like, yeah, like pretty much is echoing your points, is it was really enjoyable. Like, it was actually really enjoyable. and thankfully the bits that dragged were usually followed by bits of those interviews with a lot of like, you know, octogenarians that don't give a shit.
Yeah,
and it's great.
yeah.
Like, but really, really like informative at the same time. And also throw in a couple of weirdos and you're just
they had lots of good archival documentary footage of the time showing stuff happening. So that was really good and interesting. You don't there's no total antithesis to the murder stuff where it's just based on basically nothing. They don't have anything to show you. They don't have they're not talking to anyone really that was there at the time or anything like that. They've actually got people they can both interview at the time, and you actually see them in the 70s with their cocks out and stuff.
I think that if you had, because I think tying it to cinema is actually like it's fine. Like that's actually not a bad way to go with this. Especially like the way that they do actually tie a lot of it into like, okay, like there's so much folk horror. Like some of our favorites are folk horror, British folk horror specifically. And the problem I had with it is that murder is that because they kept focusing, because they made that the central conceit of the movie rather than just like the rise of, even if you started with this murder, the rise of witchcraft and pagan, you know, rituals, etc., and the interest in that and how that ties into murders and hysteria and movies, like that's all fine. It's just you could have just started with this murder rather than making that the entire conceit, because literally by the end they were going back on themselves like 2 or 3 times to stretch out the murder part, just so they could talk more about the stuff that was actually interesting, whereas they should have flipped that around and been like, okay, so we don't need the murder stuff as much, because they also threw in a couple of other murders. Oh, this thing also happened and this thing also, but that's not as important as this murder. And it's like, I don't really care about this detective, like who decided to become a TV star and novelist and capitalize on all
exactly.
his bullshit.
It could have been mentioned, but it didn't need to hang the entire film on. I was actually wondering if this film would work better for like an American audience or something, because you and me both know there ain't no fucking Wiccan blood sacrifices happening, even in darkest England in the 50s. That is, I'm from an island off the Hebrides. There ain't no fucking Wicker men there. It's total bullshit. But I wonder...
You're from literally where the Wicker man is, like, essentially... based off of.
Yeah, no, it's puritanical Christianity all the way down. So, like, I wonder if, like, you know, someone in New York would be like, get a bit more. They'd be like, oh, you know, because I mean, that might be part of the issue, but it definitely should have focused more on societal change with good, because it is cool. Like, they're using the films of the time to illustrate like stuff that was happening and the reciprocal like relationship between like these people in the late 60s influencing the films, and then the films influencing the people. Like they were doing rituals that were possibly influenced by films they'd seen. That part is interesting and well done. So it was frustrating, but it was still good, but it was frustrating.
I mean as a city kid that has wandered into a small pub in the countryside in a town I don't know with some friends. We got weird looks and walked out, not because they were going to do pagan rituals, because they don't want shitty kids in their small pub that they've drank in for 50 years. That's it.
People can be unfriendly.
People can not like outsiders for fair enough reasons.
Oh dear. So,
what would you give it?
6 or a 7. I don't know.
God, we're so in tune. This.
What, you 6 or a 7? You don't know?
I'm genuinely 6 or a 7. I don't know. Because I was like, is a 6 too harsh? Because I genuinely enjoyed quite a lot of it.
Yeah.
But is a 7 too generous good. Because of this?
65 out of 100. There you go. But it is one
I'll
of them.
I'll give it a 6. You give it a 7.5.
Yeah. No, I'll give it 6.
Okay.
Yeah. It's worth... It'll probably end up on Shudder, and I would say, yeah, give it a watch. Especially if you can fast forward some bits here or not. The ending was set up... The epilogue, sorry, was set up before we watched it. And it was genuinely quite good. I mean, the guy who made it said it was the best epilogue in the history of ever. But I was like, no, it is pretty fucking good. It got a big reaction.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, it did.
So,
And it's set up excellently.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would... Yeah, it's... Okay, maybe a 7.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's a 6, and then that post credits bit, and
maybe
you're
it
like,
did.
you're a 7.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
On to the next movie, 6:15 p.m. By the Throat, directed by David Luke Rees. Again, straight from the.
It's the one I can't. It's the one that I couldn't remember the title of after we came out. I couldn't remember it there. I was literally, what the fuck is that? Oh yeah, no, I remember. All right.
So once again, I will say it's why I read straight from the Frightfest website. Trying to get over a profoundly distressing attack that ended in fatality, Lizzie Roberts agrees to act as a career-come housekeeper for Amy and Alex Cummings. Cater, sorry.
Yeah, there you go. I'm just making sure,
that one's on me. Yeah, that one's on me.
Keeping you honest.
Need be fair about these things. A cater-come housekeeper for Alex and Amy Cummings at their remote country home. But with Alex on a business trip and Amy still clearly traumatized by the accidental death of their only child, Lizzie finds her new job not quite as straightforward as she hoped. Yet, Amy seems to be improving under Lizzie's watchful eye, and normality seems to be returning to the Cummings household until Lizzie starts having nightmares and hallucinations and finds evil outside forces are twisting that normality.
Yeah.
Starring her from Sex Education.
Yes. I don't remember her
Patricia
name.
Allison.
Okay. Yeah. The tiny woman. She looks like 5 foot, right? She's like a little elf. Yeah. This film was. It was quite okay. She's quite
I'm watching
good.
him struggle right
She's
now.
quite good at it. She's good at it. She's convincing, especially at this point. We'd had terrible film and then documentary. So first bit of good acting, and it helped. It was good acting. She was very good at it. It's basically a bottle movie set in a house. The couple that lived there, they're both pretty good as well. Yeah,
I'd say I would say the cast in this are all very good.
I think that's fair. Yeah, they are all good. It has the ginger guy from Game On in it. For those of you that were alive in the 90s.
I genuinely think, especially the twists and turns this movie takes, I think that this the cast does really well with it. Like it's it's well done the whole way through, because especially the wife, I think Jeannie Spark, she has a tough job at times.
Yeah.
Like it's a very almost literally bipolar role.
Yeah.
And I think she does a really good job of that.
Yeah. It's a weird one. It's mostly a drama till it isn't, kind of.
Yeah. No, that is a totally fair
I don't know how I feel about that though, because I was looking back on it. It does feel a bit kind of thin. It's all right. It's to live a nurse helping this woman get over grief, and she's predictably very erratic in her behavior, and it leads to tension. It leads to a bit of uncomfortableness, a bit of awkwardness, and we can't really talk about how it gets resolved particularly, but it does lurch into a different direction, and then sort of a slightly funny direction. It's quite odd.
It's it's also quite funny, like after the documentary we just watched, because it does have certain elements of that small town.
Yeah.
Folk, like the outsider coming in.
Yeah.
Like being cut off to a certain extent. And yeah, it is very much a drama with some couple of weird things sprinkled throughout it until like the last half hour, and then it's not a completely different movie. It's just everything unravels in a way you don't expect, and I think it's got praise for that because it actually handles all of that very well, but it does just go. The problem is it's 80 minutes, and it could be 70 to 60.
Yeah, well,
I
didn't actually find
maybe not even 60. Yeah. It's just like there were just a couple of bits where I was like, okay, we're I feel like we're kind of just treading ground.
Yeah, I didn't really. It's an odd one because I didn't really feel that it was lengthy, but it was.
I didn't feel it was lengthy. I just felt that it didn't have much more to give.
Yeah, well, that's my whole problem with the entire film. I'm like, it felt very slight, like a wafer thin mint.
But that's my problem. That's what I'm saying. It could be. It's not that like. It's not like an editing thing. Yeah. It's like like in the middle. It's just padded a bit.
Yeah, it's
rather than having a second act. It is kind of a 2-act play.
It's a
where
Black
they
Mirror Twilight Zone episode, but they've made it tried to make a film out of it.
Yeah, see if this was that new Black Mirror.
Was it called Red Mirror or something?
Yeah, see if that was an episode of that and shortened a bit.
I mean, basically could be.
No,
but I mean,
that's what's saying. It could be, but it's got too much. And I'm not meaning for that, like that it would, because it's TV. I'm literally meaning it would allow it. It's because this needs to be a feature that I think it has its problems.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is quite televisual, really. There's not. You know, I mean, I know that there's the gap between those two is razor thin these days, but I mean, it could have been it's even got some Netflix stuff in it. It could have been something on Netflix. They've got some anthology things. I'm not, because I know we said, it could have been an episode of thing, but I'm like, see if you just put it on Netflix, I don't think I'd be like, wow, this should be in the cinema. I'm like, yeah, this is like a small screen kind of experience from beginning to end as it is, without changing anything really. Apart from the fact it's too bloody long, obviously. But that's
the thing. It's like the problem that it being too long is tied to it being a movie.
Yeah.
Like, so it's.
So just chop out some bits in the middle and shove it on Netflix.
Because you're allowed the freedom to have whatever length you want to have, rather than being tied to. Well, you're not a feature film unless, and that's what I'm meaning. Like, I feel that there are certain aspects of this movie where, especially in the middle, it treads a bit of ground where it couldn't, because it had to. Yeah. Because it had to, like. Well, okay.
Yeah, it's filler.
We've got this.
Padding.
Like,
So Tale as old as low budget time, honestly. But
So yeah, but everything that they are given is, including, like, I think the direction's very good. I think the camera work's very good. Like, it looks like a good.
I think it's Bob average, honestly. Okay, I find it entirely.
Yeah, I didn't say amazing.
No, I find it entirely forgettable. I do. Oh, given the fact I've forgotten it 3 times.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't.
I would probably give this a 6.
I would never think about this again if we weren't recording this now, and I know I wouldn't, because I did not remember what the fuck we were talking about.
Is that 5 or a 4 or a 3 or a 5? I mean, where does that sit?
Yeah, it must be a 4 or a 5 then.
Yeah,
it's just. I'll give it a 5 for Ginger Pubes out of Game On, because I did enjoy. I did enjoy seeing him, and even though his bits seemed like a totally different fucking film, I did enjoy them a bit. So I'll give it a 5.
The Doctor's really good on it.
That's him.
I've not seen Game On. Oh yeah, you
Yes,
did say it
he's
was
the
in the
doc-
90s, so all the other
he's the
people would
doctor.
be...
I mean, how many people are in it? Well, yeah. But anyway, yes. Okay. So.
Next up, second last movie of the day? Second last movie of the day. 8:30 p.m. The Doombusters, directed by Jack Lawrence McHenry. It's 1940 and war rages across Europe. Britain prepares for the coming invasion, but the war is a dull affair for Arthur Roundtree, a young man serving in the Home Guard. He dreams of action and adventure, but he remains stuck in a small, sleepy English village miles away from war due to a medical condition. However, when an extraterrestrial creature crashes on the outskirts of the village, a training exercise suddenly turns into a deadly game of cat and mouse. Soon, Arthur and his companions realize they are fighting for their lives and to save the entire galaxy.
The Doombusters. So
The Doombusters.
I do remember before I think we were in the pub having pizza. Well, I was. Nice pizza. Garlic, what was it? Garlic mushroom and blue cheese. Now I remember that vividly.
Yeah, but that's
Maybe that
more
last
about
film was a
you
4.
than any of the movies.
And I do remember thinking that I must have got muddled up in my head because I forgot about the home front aspect of it. I remembered the World War II aspect of it. I remembered aliens. And I was kind of hoping this was more going to be a pulpish adventure. I suppose, what's the J.J. Abrams one that we mentioned at the time? Overlord?
Is that a J.J. Abrams one?
He produced it, he didn't direct it.
Oh, okay. Right, yeah. Overlord.
It was going to be a Cloverfield thing for a while, and then they just
Core everything fucking was.
but then they canned that idea or whatever,
and that's why it's a good movie.
Yeah, but
so you thought it was going to be British Overlord, basically, in some way, like not exactly, but in that kind of feel, but British.
Yeah, just that pulp genre. So I think Overlord's the best example of that sort of thing. So it might, it obviously could have been lighter hearted or whatever than that, but I was hoping for kind of a rollicking good time. But what we got was kind of a broad comedy sci-fi.
Yeah.
Really, really pretty broad. And now, if I had to define what broadness means in comedy, I mean slightly shit. Like Sunday 7:30 on telly.
It passed the laugh test. At least I'm not saying with you. I'm not trying to influence. I'm not saying what you should. But it passed the laugh test.
I think it should be disqualified, given that 25 people that worked in that film were in the audience. They could have passed it themselves.
Were they actually?
No, there was loads of people. I think.
Oh, is that the one? Where
not taking the piss. I think there was 15 people from the cast and crew in the audience. There were 2 entire side rows, at least, maybe 3 entire side rows. I was annoyed because when I was getting beer before going in, the entire fucking cast was there all buying drinks and going, oh yeah. They're all like that. All actors are like that. Doesn't matter who they are, they're all like that. No,
they're all in front of you in the queue. Oh, right. Laughing.
I'm sure they are lovely. I mean, they came up for it, and I'm sure they didn't. They probably had to pay for their travel. The film is cheap.
So this is when we talk about movies that were made on a low budget. This one was emphasized, made on 8,000.
Yeah, eight grand, and it basically concerns this motley crew of young Dad's Army people. So Dad's Army is the people. The old, the infirm, the people that could not go to war. Britain was so scared of a land invasion, probably rightly, by Germany, that they basically got anyone who wanted to but could not go to the army. They joined a home front army that was nicknamed Dad's Army, and it was basically just old guys that couldn't go. Yeah, and they would arm them with basically nothing, which I was really fucking irritated when the heroine of the film turns up. And I think Kerry Mucklow's dad from that's that BBC TV show. Oh, it's really good. Oh, the Mucklows. This is going to piss me off so much.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
It's oh my God. It might not actually even be him, so that I'll just be embarrassing myself. This Country. I think it's him from This Country anyway. I was like, oh, cool. I like that actor. He is rocking a Tommy gun with a fucking drum magazine. He's in the Home Guard, and I was like, "What the fuck?" It was much
He's also
more.
a farmer.
It was much more It was much more realistic when they're armed with brooms and shit. Like that is more what we're talking about here. Is basically not much of anything at this time. Anyway, they basically have hijinks and rollicking fun. Because alien comes down and starts killing people. But it's a really weird fucking film because it feels to me like a panto that a school puts on in terms of its humor and script.
Not just that. So that is one thing I will say about this. Like, I was looking at the cast at certain points and going, you guys are way more familiar with stage acting.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because of the way they move, the way they talk.
Yeah.
Like, there are certain aspects that, like, you could believe this is a play. Like, like 100%.
Yeah. I guess that's what I mean. Broad comedy. That is something about comedy being broad. Is it is kind of played up more so that everyone, you know what I mean? It is all about big, stupid reactions. Fart noises. One of the biggest laughs of the film was a fart noise, which I am 100% convinced was added in post. Was not planned. It's not acknowledged again. They were just like, this scene needs a bit of humor. Big fart. He shits himself.
Not the worst. So it did have some dodgy ADR at some moments. Not the worst ADR of the weekend. But no, I like see, especially for $8,000, and I am always a person that's like, because a movie, like, for me, a movie is partly about intention. Like, what did you go and set out to make with this? Mm-hmm. Not necessarily with themes and blah 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 blah, but what did you have and what did you go and make?
Yeah,
and I think for $8,000, I think this is a pretty fucking good movie.
It's so annoying.
That's the bit where it's. I get you. I do get.
I mean, the film is
mean.
literally quite annoying, and also it's quite annoying that I can't be that mean to it because it was made for nothing, and they all came up to see their film, and they're trying.
And it's quite good.
It's not good, but they're trying.
You chuckled a few times.
I'm a very generous. I mean, fucking hell! I just told you about how awkward I felt when they don't get good reception, and there was they were all right to my right. I was like, fuck's sake! I can't be like,
no. No, but you didn't they weren't staring at you the entire time and you went, ha ha ha. Like, you didn't sit stone-faced the entire time at the movie.
Yeah, but, I'm...
And you can't be like, oh, well, I'm an easy laugh.
No.
But boo.
No. But, I mean, I was willingly, I was trying to get there. I was giving it a lot of effort, right? There's a difference. Because you want to have fun. So I'm like, it was okay. You give it a little bit at the cinema, right? So, you kind of start faking it, then you'll make it. If I was watching this by myself at home, it would have been off immediately. As soon as I realized what it was, I'd be like, oh, I've made a terrible mistake with what I hoped this would be compared to what it is.
We watch plenty of movies together. If this movie had come on, like, if we had put this movie
absolutely, it would have been vetoed. You would have been the only person.
If we had missed Frightfest and we decided to catch up, would you have just been like...
I don't think any of us would have lasted past
I mean, to be fair, the other two people we watch movies with are harsh critics.
No, I would have definitely turned it off 20 minutes in. I'm trying to think of the exact bit, because I think it starts off and you're not sure, but maybe it's just a fart noise. Maybe that's...
Do you think that there's enough good jokes that...
Okay, well... No. Doesn't matter what you're going to say. The answer is probably no. But I can't be... I'm feeling meaner about it because when I came out of it, I was like, oh, it's all right, 6 out of 10. But now I've got distance on my side, and I'm like, fuck, it is shit.
It's not, though.
It's...
No, I refuse to let you call... No, I refuse to let you call it shit when we watched House of Ashes.
Yeah, two things can be shit, but much more.
Yeah, no, I'm very aware of that. But
no, it's not. No, it's not as shit as House of Ashes because they did try and they are having fun. I think they're just having fun, having a good time. And at the end of it, they've got a film and they go into a film festival with it, and it's that's nice. It's nice. I don't wish ill of them, but I mean, personally, this ain't my entertainment, which is a real shame because in my misapprehension of what it was. it was on paper, on my piece of paper in my head, which wasn't what was actually written down. If I'd actually concentrate, for fuck's sake, I would have been like, "Ooh, oh, well, okay, I'll give it." You know,
I will say the image we are given on the website is not that representative of what the movie is.
yeah, it's him,
The guy holding the sword and the armor,
which is
full
not
red.
yeah, that's not which is
That's not
annoying.
a
also.
lot of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So what are you giving it?
Oh God,
You
do I
have
have
to?
to? Do I have to? I mean, it's
Yes.
But it's like I've gone to see my kid do a play at school, and
No,
I'm like,
it's not.
And then they're like, "What do you think?" And I'm like,
No, it's like your
"Aye,
kid
it's
got
shit
into
and you're
a
bad at it." I'm not gonna say that.
film festival that has had some.
Well, then I tell them it's great, but it's not.
Okay, now it's not your kid.
Can you
Screw it.
guarantee that no one that was involved with it will ever listen to this? Probably you can. In that case,
I mean, also, can I guarantee that you'll never meet any of those people again?
I'm not scared of them. I just don't like upsetting them.
Actually, no, because if another one has a movie in Frightfest,
Yeah, they'll probably seek me out.
they'll seek you out for your two.
I have to lower the score.
You give it whatever score you
It was
deem
a 6.
appropriate.
It was a 6 when I came out of the cinema, basically because I was like, can't be mean to it, right? I feel mean
But
being
now,
mean. But I mean,
I'll be mean to it.
that is something though. At least I could see that they were doing something. It's not some bullshit that was shat out to try and make money or something. It was just a guy and actors. I'm sure they had a good time making it, in as much as, even though they said it actually wasn't a good time because of mud and stuff, but whatever, boohoo actors. But you know, it felt passionate. It felt like, you know, it was made for nothing. 5. I can't be 6. It can't be a pass. It's not a passing mark. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm gonna give it a 7.
Oh,
I
you're
enjoyed
a
it.
fucking
Yeah.
maniac. Do you know what it's like? If you've ever
What?
seen Maid Marian and Her Merry Men, it is just that.
I've not.
It's just that. It's humor that was on CBBC that honestly, it's just too. I'd never find those shows funny. Even when I was a kid, I just didn't find them funny. I just thought they were stupid. It's just the same fucking sense of humor. So I can't get on board with it. But
That's fine. You've given it your score.
But I will. Well, I will say, Maid Marian and Her Merry Men is looked back fondly by many, many, many idiots.
You're such a snob. Yeah, I'm giving it a 7. I'm an even harder 7 now. If you're
Yeah, of course you
snobbery.
are. Of course you are.
Yeah, no, I mean, I will say that it's almost exactly the same length as the movie before it, and I think it uses its time better.
Well, when they're walking.
Good dialogue.
I'm just being mean for being mean's sake.
You are. I know you are. It's your thing. No, I genuinely enjoyed it. I think it's like. I hope they all finish film school and come back and make something else.
Are they still in film school?
That was a
good.
little jab.
Just making sure. Yeah, but I was so uncharacteristic of you because you're the one.
I know.
I should have said it. You read my line out of the script.
That's
Idiot.
why I said it so cagily. No, 7 out of 10. Well done. Last movie.
5 out of 10. See me after fucking class. Right. Next film. Let's go.
Last film of the Friday, 10:45, In Our Blood, directed by Pedro Cos. Nothing is what it seems when filmmaker Emily Wyland teams up with cinematographer Danny to shoot an intimate documentary about reuniting with Emily's estranged mother. When her mother suddenly goes missing, possibly succumbing to the addictions that first tore her family apart, the duo must piece together increasingly sinister clues to find her before it's too late. Oscar-nominated documentary filmmaker Pedro Cos' feature debut masterfully blends psychological mystery with chilling horror, weaving a twisted tale of reconciling with the ghosts of our past and confronting the complicity we share in creating A world preying on the most vulnerable.
Yeah, so this is documentary style, but terrifyingly, if you look it up on the internet, the synopsis is just a document. You know, it just says it's a documentary, and all the little blurbs you get on Google. And I was like, "Fuck, 3 documentaries in one weekend, Jesus Christ!" But it's not. Thankfully, it is a well done portrayal of this girl trying to find her. I think it's fair to say deadbeat mother after she goes missing, which weaves together. Where's it set again? Does it say where it's? Did you say where it was set? Oh, I can't remember. Was it? Oh God! It was a American town. It was Lass something or San something. It was one of those. Yeah. It's really annoying. I've forgotten the name of the town now, actually, because it is
probably California.
Yeah. It felt very localized to one place. It was kind of trying to give it was giving like a portrayal of one area and its troubles kind of thing. So it had a lot of, because the mother had drug addiction issues and was in the film, it's not a spoiler, she's like working at this shelter to help people with drug addiction issues and homelessness and stuff, and I'm convinced that it features people that really have those issues, if only because I think you can tell a mile away the people that are actors versus people that just genuinely are living that life. And I'm like, these people feel real. And then there's one character that turns up and I'm like, he's an actor. And right enough, that actor was in the film as acting.
More than any of the other people.
Yeah, the other people that showed up, she was just interviewing them for little 1-minute segments. They were all more, you know what I mean? You could tell the people, and I was like, I think these people are genuine. And then there's a couple of plants, obviously actors to further the story or just, be a little bit strange or whatever. It felt very authentic in that sense. I mean, if they were actors, I'm still fooled because I don't think they were. But in either case, it felt very authentically a portrayal of a shit town that's suffering from issues and like addiction issues with their family and stuff like that. And it does go places that we shouldn't talk about, annoyingly. But it is well acted and well shot. Although, I mean, it's just the found footage, so I find it odd talking. I mean, it does look nice, to be fair. Like, there are nice shots in it. Most of it is just like the girl and her cameraman slash.
I think just cameraman.
Yeah, they're not.
I think just cameraman.
They're like close, but they don't. They never go past that. Yeah,
no.
I did assume at the start they were an item, but thinking about it, I don't think I ever actually crossed that. Just going along interviewing people, and it is like a mystery, and then it turns into something else towards the end. I thought it was very effective and good. I didn't recognize the actress, but she's been in stuff I've seen. What was she in? Oh, she was in White Lotus season 1. Her and Sydney Sweeney are two girls that get up to all sorts at the resort. And she's good at this. She's good at that too. And it gives you really good seeds that pay off at the end and would also pay off when you think about it after. There was little bits where like, oh yeah, this led to that, or like this was foreshadowing that, blah blah blah. So I think it was very well done and effective. And I really enjoyed it. I do think it suffered from one thing.
What one thing?
What's the one nitpick that's fucking annoying about found footage films?
I don't know what specific one you're going to say.
You will. It's the one.
I hate these games.
It's the one challenge they need to overcome. Some of them don't bother trying. Some of them manage to. Some of them have the problem of, why are they filming? That's the problem.
Film everything.
Yeah, this film has, towards the end, it has that problem where it sort of slightly starts falling apart and people have to say literally, keep filming, film everything. And it's like, why really? But they do sort of pay it off, but it just always sounds so clumsy to me in the moment. It's just a total nitpick, but it's like a fucking clanger when you hear it in these kind of films. But to this film's credit, when I'm reflecting on it now, it sort of gets away with it, I think. both times it happens. I think there is actually explained later on, but at the time it's like immediately it's like I've been hit with a bucket of cold water. Oh, I'm not in the movie anymore because they have to say that because they have to keep filming, blah blah blah. You know, it's just fucking so annoying. Anyway, tiny nitpick. I still really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it's really well acted. Especially the chemistry between the cameraman and the main character. Like, it's just a really good job.
Yeah.
It's all very believable.
The actress playing the mother's really good as well. Like, she has
brilliant.
a breakdown on camera and stuff. It's a really good long scene of her just acting and shit. It's very well done.
Yeah. And for a guy who's known for making documentaries to make his first fictional feature, that's like, you can, because you worry, like, plenty of people have tried things who are very good at one thing and try something else.
Oh yeah, I wasn't sure about it. Like,
Michael Jordan was famously not very good at baseball. It's in Space Jam.
No, I know it's a fact. He was basketball, then tried baseball, then went back to basketball, right?
Yeah. And then won more championships.
Yeah.
And I also don't think he was actually that bad at baseball.
Wasn't Michael Jordan.
But yeah, for an Oscar nominated, like, you worry going into it is like, is this just gonna be a documentary, or is this just gonna be like, is it not gonna work? Is the transition just not gonna be good? Especially since he's using his known oeuvre to transition. It's not just I'm making a movie.
It's kind of it's like a
documentary
hybrid
style. And
I think I was quite worried.
Really, really well.
I think I was quite worried about it at the start as well, because it starts quite slow and gentle, and I was a bit worried. I think the mother's performance really pulled me back into being, no, this is a good film. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not.
Yeah, it's.
There's acting. There's good acting in it. It's not just fucking, relying on the 100%. Stuff he knows.
It's like a genuinely, like, well shot, well done movie. And in the crowded found footage space, like, it is. If you are looking for a found footage movie, it is definitely a recommend.
Yeah, I think it should be. Hopefully, it comes to Shudder or something, like a good streaming service where it'll get attention. And I'm sure it would be one of those films that people then talk about when, all these recommendations. What's a good found footage film? It should be in that conversation for sure.
It should.
It's different. It's a bit different as well. It's not.
And like, it lays a lot of stuff out and pays a lot of it off.
Yeah, it does.
In very satisfying ways. Like, to be honest, I'm probably going to give it an 8. Like,
I think an 8 as well. A good 8.
Yeah,
big solid strong 8.
And especially see for the last movie of the day, and especially during a film festival, it can be grating. I think that despite the slow start, an excellent way to end the first day.
Yeah, I actually think it should have deserved a better slot than that, to be honest. But
that's true.
I think it should have had one of the more primo slots. But I mean, the day I went, that was taken up by UK film with loads of the cast there, the crew there. So fair, okay. But I think it maybe deserved a bit more attention even in the festival, but hopefully it gets it afterwards. Even Netflix. Someone buy it, please.
So yeah, that was day 1. What do you think of day 1? Or do you want to do day 2 and then talk about the whole thing?
I'll talk about day 1, sure. Day 1 was a definite mixed bag, but I came away being like, it was helpful that was the last film of the day. I was like, yeah, I felt pretty good. I mean, I'm being harsher on Doombusters and on
By the Throat.
Thank you. Than I wasn't pretending. I'm being harsher on them now, but at the time, By the Throat was fine, and Doombusters was slightly annoying, but I felt, you're okay.
Yeah, we know, yeah.
So, yeah, it was a good day. I felt it was a good day.
Yeah, I think especially since the weak start,
Oh, terrible, yeah.
generally it went up in quality for
Yeah.
me. It's not that the documentary was bad. It
Yeah.
was just a very different flavor when you're
Yeah.
about to watch 11 movies. But yeah, I think it was a pretty successful. By the end, it was a successful
Yeah.
first day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that comes us on to Saturday, 10:45 a.m.
Oh,
Mother's
God.
Embrace.
It's just tough, innit? We get out of the cinema at, 1 a.m., have to get a taxi home, have to get some sleep, have to get up, have to get a train back in for 10:45 a.m.
I mean,
I was
wait,
tired, mate. I was tired.
Nah, we get out just after 12.
Was it just after? Oh, maybe once when I got home,
Yeah, probably around that.
and then I was excited. I was like, I couldn't switch off. I think I had 4 hours of sleep, then got up and back we go.
Back we go with A Mother's Embrace at 10:45 a.m. Directed by Christian Ponce. In 1996, young firefighter Anna and her team were called to an old people's home at risk of flooding during the worst storms ever to hit Rio de Janeiro. As they try to evacuate the elderly, Anna soon finds something sinister lurking beneath the surface, and the residents are not as innocent as they first seem. For the home has been built on the grounds of an ancient temple, the site of a timeless rite of an infernal god, and entangled
Fucking hell.
in their insidious web, she must face
Tell
her
me how it
traumatic
ends.
childhood, complete with a maternal monster.
Jesus.
On you go. Our
Did
first foreign language movie of the day.
Did that say when this was set?
Of the day of the festival.
Yeah.
1996.
Were there really storms in 1996? Yes.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Dozens die as rain wrecks havoc and...
Oh.
Sorry. Okay, that was interesting.
Had to check if it
Didn't
was
actually
gonna break
realize.
stuff.
Didn't actually realize. I actually never... Oh, yeah, no, yeah, it was. So it starts off in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
I actually wasn't really aware of what this film was about when we were going in. And it's got like mother-daughter, weird relationship. It's quite it's a bit kind of hallucinatory. It's a bit unreal. It's a bit surreal at the start.
Think, well, I mean, I don't know if this is giving too much away, but like, think the flashback scene, the earlier flashback scenes in Smile. Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's basically, traumatic childhood with
Yeah.
mother.
Yeah.
Mother is no longer around.
Yeah. And then 1996, it's quite a cool setting, I thought. Yeah, so it's Rio. It's like the main character, is part of this fire crew.
So this
but
is
it's
is something we were just ignorant about. I still don't know too much about it, but
I'm sure I've heard of this, but I wasn't. I didn't want to get involved in the conversation at the time. But I'm sure.
What a convenient excuse. There's so like they put on uniforms.
Yeah.
And they're responding to emergencies. But
Yeah.
we couldn't a few of us, unlike you, couldn't figure out what emergency service they were part of. And it turns out that they're firefighters with no firefighting equipment.
Yeah, I think it's just like emergency. It's like nimbler emergency response. So I think it is like.
Is it like the firefighters that would cut you out of
Exactly.
a car if you had a car crash?
Yeah,
They would
but
bring,
I think
they
that's-
would bring your hoses.
I think that's weird here because we just usually just have fire trucks with all sorts driving out, and then they get that shit out of the back. But I'm sure I was aware that like in countries where maybe budget's a concern, you might not be able to
or narrower roads.
Yeah, exactly. So stuff like that. So that was, I thought it was a really actually quite interesting both like geographical setting, and I thought it was quite interesting premise. So she's part of this fire crew, and they get called to that house. I mean, I feel like the synopsis has told everything, but never mind. And the crux of the issue is they need to like evacuate this shitty,
Yeah, it's like
run-down nursing home.
It's a team of like 4 or
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
And they
Terrible storms, roads are cut off.
are out on a call, get called to another call at this elderly home, and shit is weird inside.
Yeah, weird, but they don't really care about it. The fire crew, I mean, they're like, whatever, you're weird. We need to get you out though.
I'll talk about that in a wee minute.
All right.
So yeah, there's a lot of like going around the house and weird stuff's happening, and they're just trying to get on with their job.
Yeah.
At first, it's kind of like without the found footage aspect, it's kind of Wreck vibes. Just in terms of, I mean, there's a lot of similarities to it, to be honest. There's just a lot of the movie is just wandering about and weird shit happens in a big house as they try to either do their job, find each other, or respond to whatever happens in the house.
Yeah.
Just to sum that up.
Yeah.
It's well, like it looks decently budgeted. Like we've seen similar movies. I would kind of in terms of like budget and things. Where was it from? The really, really meta movie from London. Asian.
What?
They all go the really meta movie where they from the Frightfest London, Frightfest Halloween.
like from
Not
London.
from London.
The draft.
The draft, yeah. So like, it kind of reminds me of that in terms of the way it's like shot and things. But my biggest gripe with it is like the characters are really well developed and like. I think the setting looks really nice. Like, it's meant to be this shitty old house, and it really looks like a shitty old house.
It's very
well
moist
done.
because it's rainstorms.
Yeah.
That's the crux of the issue. The rainstorms need to get everyone out.
And I think all the actors do a pretty good job. That old woman's creepy and weird. But just a lot of the logic falls apart in the movie for me. Like, a lot of the and not in the usual like horror movie way. Just a lot of the character decisions. I'm like, really? Is this what you're doing? And that kind of goes back to like, there's a few moments, what you were saying of like, where the firefighters are just ignoring weird things and going, this wall looks just like, oh, it's got a crack in it and we don't know. Listen up, everyone.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, half possessed or whatever people staring at them.
It's funny. Like there's that scene where they're all doing weird cultish
really
shit
weird
in the foyer basically, and that character's like, phone. I need a phone. It's like not like fear. You're not scared of your situation or
proper hands on the hips. Like okay, because I'm the authority figure. And I don't know if it's meant to be that of this kind of like, they are just trying to do that way of just ignore. If I just remain in charge, then, but it doesn't come across that way. It just comes across weirdly stilted.
Yeah. I didn't mind at the time, but it probably doesn't help the tension of the scene when
I almost laughed.
Yeah, well, yeah, because the character involved isn't feeling fear, so is the audience going to feel fear?
Yeah, exactly. But it was all right. Like, it's not one that I could come out and be like. There was no one part of it where I was like, "Oh, this was really good."
Yeah. Well, the synopsis gave it away. It's to do with like a cult worshipping a god, right? And it is very.
And that's so slowly revealed.
Yeah. So that's
the
unfortunate.
fact that is part. Yeah. I mean, your reaction to the blurb said it all.
But never mind. Like, we might as well. We can discuss it because the fucking film's advertising. Let's go discuss it. So it is quite Lovecraftian, which I do like because there's a real dearth of competently made Lovecraftian films that are. I mean, there's actually more and more now, to be fair. But I mean, this is a really good, like, a cult worshipping an elder god is like, that's not sort of Cthulhu-esque. That's not, we don't need to like, oh yeah, it's a bit Lovecraftian. That's fucking really Lovecraftian as hell.
Yeah.
That's super fucking Lovecraftian. And that aspect of the film works pretty well overall in general, I think.
Yeah.
But there's bits and pieces that don't.
Yeah, 100%. It's
So
like I wish that there was they had, especially around that aspect, they had a really cool idea and the visuals are excellent for it. I just wish there was and I'm not saying it was bad, I just wish there was a slightly better, more cohesive movie around it.
Yeah, I think so. I think
And I will say that the Eldritch shit really split our group.
Yeah,
it was, and we were shocked by that because we were like, that was like the coolest part of that movie.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
It is a weird game of two halves though, because it's half a mother-daughter relationship with a lot of symbolism about that thrown in.
Yeah.
Kind of tried to interweave it with a Lovecraftian story, but the am I misremembering? Did the
No, you're 100% right.
like no, well, I don't know. Like, so there was no relation between the two, was there? In terms of, I know. Oh well.
No, but yes, but no.
Yeah,
but yes, but no.
yeah.
And we could talk for half an hour about literally that.
I remembered the bit when you were like, no, but yes, but no. I was like, oh yeah, there is that bit. But in general, it is kind of like two sort of. You could have made two different films out of the script here, and just it's like they did kind of mash two ideas together. Two films could have been made, and they both could have been probably better for it than the film we've got.
Yeah.
But it's. If you like Lovecraftian stuff, which I do, it's pretty good. I would definitely, considering again how I've tried to look up umpteen times Lovecraftian films that are good, and there ain't many. A lot of them are. I mean, people recommend that Dagon movie that is objectively shit, but because it's based on a Lovecraftian story, people recommend it as, oh, you should see that. This film should hit those kind of recommendations. Same way I was talking about that film earlier, like, see, like found footage films, like, see if you want a good Lovecraftian movie, this should definitely be in that discussion for that, because it does that bit really well. It just has problems.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
What would you give it?
This is my boggle. I think because it's totally my subjective opinion, a 7, but I'm being generous.
Yeah, I think I'm between a 6 and a 7. And it is tough because
if you don't like Lovecraft, it's a 6. Maybe a 5. It's hard for me to divorce. No, I know. I meant in general.
Oh, right,
people.
in general. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I hate giving 6.5s. I hate giving 0.5s.
Fence sitter.
I know. It's tough. Like, it's...
Just say 3 stars and be done with it.
Oh, God, no.
Well, it is. That's... It absolves you of it.
At that point, it would just be a 6. I think I'll be... I'm always generous. I'll give it a 7.
Okay.
Yeah, like, the Lovecraft stuff is pretty cool. It just could really do with less of the mother-daughter stuff.
Yeah.
But that might just be, like, I don't mean it bad. That might just be us. That might resonate with someone else, but I just felt it was...
I'm still suspicious that if I rewatch it, I'll be like, oh, because it has a lot of fucking symbolism about the mother-daughter stuff, and I don't know if that's... I don't really know how well that ties into everything. It might do it more than I've appreciated on a first watch. It's hard to know. But anyway.
So, on to movie number 2, which was actually the short film showcase, started at 1 p.m.
Right. Name the first film. Let's go.
Canary Bones, directed by Kieran Davies. Years after a coal mining disaster, an executive from an energy conglomerate in London is sent to the South Wales valleys to examine the possibility of reopening the Hwg Arc colliery. Miles below the ground and far from the city, something awaits him in the mine.
Yeah.
Go.
So basically, out of towner, posh English bloke turns up at a Welsh mining town, greeted by old Welsh miner who's like, "Fuck you for ever existing." As
literally.
So
they've The mining disaster is very important.
fault.
Basically.
And then, he gets scared. I thought, we're obviously not going to be able to talk a lot about these films, obviously, but I thought it was a good... I like that stuff. So there were some horrible mining disasters that happened.
It resonates with our...
Yeah, like, I think
our lot.
it's a good setting. I think it's a good setting. Like there was a landslide that engulfed an entire village and like a school and stuff. Like there was some horrible disasters that happened due to the mining industry. And I thought that was a good setting for a retribution style little horror tale. You know, obviously this mustachioed English guy coming in is going to get his... I actually said twat.
I know you did. I could see it. Wasn't even in your mouth. I could just see it in your face.
But let's dial down the national divide here a little bit.
No, he's portrayed as that.
That's what I'm trying to emphasize. It's his character in the film. But you can tell he's
haughty is very, very like apt word.
You can tell he's going to get his comeuppance, and it's done pretty well. It was pretty good. Like the setting was good, and then the horror stuff on top of where they go with it was, it was fine. Nothing you've not seen in 100 YouTube shorts.
I think that is the thing. It was fine, but uninventive.
Yeah.
Like if you were like, if you could just guess where it was going. And I'm not meaning that. Like it was, as you said, competently made, well acted. Really, like looks nice. Like you get some really nice shots from the train station and the hills in the background. That old man's brilliant.
Yeah.
But I
think it's a short film, so.
Totally. That's. I'm just saying, like, because I'm not going to score these.
Yeah. I'm going to score them.
Okay.
You're not going to score them.
I don't. What?
But I think the setting, the look of the mine and the look of the place and the train he comes in on, it was all very well done. And then it leads to.
I often wonder how people get these trains, like on tiny budgets.
I know. Yeah, because of the pentathlete movie.
Yeah.
That was definitely a real train in some shots. I thought it was a passing mark, so I would give it a 6.
Yeah, same.
It was
just going to agree with you and everyone.
Pretty good. That's fine. You can do it. I thought it was good. It was a good start. It was I would definitely say that. It was a good start. It was what you kind of expect. Little scares at the end. Whoa. Sort of monster, sort of ghost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tied in a little bit of coal stuff. It's fine. It's good. It's fine.
Next one was Mulch, directed by Henry Leroy Salta and Alexander Toll. An older man travels through an ancient fairy tale forest on a pilgrimage in honor of his father. In a state of nostalgia, he encounters a shared memory and discovers his true nature.
Yeah. So this is a very hard swing because it's basically a silent movie. And it employs like animation, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, or what's the other one with Brad Pitt in it?
Cool World?
Cool World, yeah. And it does so for funnies, and it was funny.
It
was quite charming, actually. I thought it was actually, quite. Yeah,
I think silent stuff done well can be really, really, really good, and this does it really well. It's they got an amazing
a few big laughs at it.
Yeah.
Like everyone in the cinema.
Genuinely, it's really well done.
Yeah,
it's really well done.
Yeah.
The animation's really well done. The only actor in the whole thing is like, you need someone good to carry it, and he does.
Yeah.
And
it's a strange, quirky little thing.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8 because.
Oh, you knew I was going to give it an 8. That's why you gave it an 8. But I would give it an 8 as well.
Yeah, no, it was really, really good.
Yeah.
I don't know how the short movies are released, but if you get a chance to watch it,
surely YouTube, right? Eventually.
Yeah, eventually. But yeah, it's 10 minutes long. Go watch Mulch. The Pearl Comb. Directed by Ali Cook. A doctor hell-bent on proving a woman's place is in the home and not practicing medicine is sent to investigate her miraculous claim, only to discover the source of her unearthly power.
Was that synopsis slightly gobbledygook?
No. Yeah. It's not,
doesn't
it's
really-
not well written. It's not well
Okay.
written.
Yeah. A doctor goes to investigate this woman's
a
claims
woman- a
about
woman-
healing
yeah.
TB, basically. She says
Yeah.
she's healed it, and he's like, right, how did you do this? And she says, through the magic of mermaids.
Yep.
This looks really good.
It looks insanely good.
It had a lot of people working on it and a big budget for sure, because
Yeah.
the credits for this was dozens.
It's also 21 minutes long.
Dozens of
the
people.
The longest
Yeah.
short by 6 minutes.
Dozens of people. But it had really good atmosphere, because it's like a good period piece set in Cornwall. It did that very well. The look of the creature was good, I'd thought. It had funny moments as well, packed that in. There was a couple of times when there was some good laughs in it. Not quite as high as much, but they were getting up there. Because basically a lot of it centers on the interactions between the woman and her husband. And it's very funny sometimes when they interact with each other, because it kind of breaks tension with her being like, "Shut the fuck up, you! What were you up to?" kind of stuff. And it pays off to a satisfying conclusion.
It's really good.
Yeah, I thought it was really, really good. Really good.
Like, it's very well acted.
Yeah.
Like,
She's really good. The doctor's totally
she's
fine.
really good. He's really the husband's really good. As you said, the effects, whether they be prosthetic, like computer, or both, probably both.
Yeah.
It looked brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's as you said, it should, like, the setting and how it's shot is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like, really, really gorgeous. And it's even like the actual story and script, it's touching at moments.
Yeah.
Like, the actual story is touching and well done, and there's like zero complaints.
Is it based on a legend or folktale?
I think they did say it was based off a Cornish folktale.
They said that at the start. I've not looked into how accurate it is to the folktale or whatever. But has this guy done anything else? Is he just a shorts guy right now? Because I mean,
I think he wears trousers.
Hey,
it's just I'm buying time while I Google.
I know, but it looked better. I mean, it was. When the shorts showcase, right? So when shorts showcase was advertised at Frightfest, I was a bit trepidatious, only because I don't normally watch a lot of shorts. I watch the best ones. I watch the ones that everyone's seen, and that's basically it. I don't watch loads of them on YouTube or anything like that. And that combined with the two documentaries, I was like, because we've seen some rough shorts at Frightfest. They were trying stuff, they were. One was a film student, basically. It was like his college thing, right? And
we've seen some great shorts as well.
We have seen some great shorts, but it's just
we've also seen
such a mixed bag.
Yeah.
And it's hard to know what you're going to go in for or whatever. So I was shocked at how well made this really was. That it wasn't like I wasn't giving it any kind of leeway for being a short or whatever. It was just really, really effectively good.
Yeah.
So. Have you found out?
Yes, I have. So Ali Cook has directed one thing, and it is this short.
Well, I mean, surely and hopefully
he has acted and produced and written for a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Well, surely he's gonna get a film out there, and it'll get into Frightfest in a couple of years because.
My God.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to give it a 9.
I was giving it a 9, obviously.
Look at him go. Look at him.
Yeah. I honestly thought it was an easy 9. Like, I'd be surprised if 95% of the audience didn't think it was the best one, and that's not to put down Mulch, which is an 8, but it was just so fucking obvious that it was just operating at that slightly higher level to get that kind of reaction out of us.
It was brilliant, really brilliant.
Yeah.
Next one was By the Light of the Fire, directed by Luc Cosimo Kiech, a campfire horror story from ancient Rome.
Yeah. So this is a bit of a hard swing.
5 minutes long.
Yeah, this is a bit of a hard swing. Is that the synopsis?
Yeah.
Okay.
A campfire horror story from.
This is a bit of a hard swing, if only because it's two guys in the woods in Legionnaires uniforms, and it's just a story that one's telling the other. It's basically by firelight most of the time as well. I thought it was fine, but I don't think there's not really a lot to say about it, really.
Because it is 5 minutes.
It's 5 minutes, and it's basically just. It's almost like it's like I'm at a poetry night or something. It's just like it's kind of just one guy talking at you for a wee bit, and then there's a wee thing at the end. But it's
so. I will say I found it kind of dull, except for 2 moments, and one of those moments was immediately kind of antidoted by what happened afterwards. And then the other one was the last shot. I just thought the last shot looked cool. It looked nice. It's just the one of the Legionnaires with the firelight in his face, he's pulled his mask down, and the way it cuts, the way it looks nice. To be honest, I just found this very forgettable. Like
it had, I mean, it's slight, but it did have those 2 moments were both pretty good. To be fair, to it, but it probably didn't benefit from the lineup of being straight after the really well realized, really like epic for a short one, to then have this hard swing into just a small little mood piece. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I didn't find it boring because it's so short. I didn't have time to find it that boring.
But I just found it kind of because to say I found it kind of nothing is way meaner. Like,
well, I said slight.
Yeah. To be I would give it a 5. It's fine. It's completely. There's just kind of not much to it. This is the one. The moment I'm thinking of is the one like in the trees and the undergrowth, right? Yeah.
The middle bit. I'd give it a 6 based on that because it was genuinely surprising, even if it didn't quite work entirely. But I'd give it a 6. I think it was totally fine. It's not one I'm gonna remember for a long time, but it was fine.
Next one was Conveyance, directed by Gemma Craig. I think I'm saying that name right.
You definitely aren't.
Craig.
No, I don't know how to say it, but I just guarantee you're not saying it right.
Thanks.
Smith.
After years of searching, Brian and Suzanne finally find their dream home. As they realize they share the space with a malevolent force, how much are they willing to put up with to stay there? This was the couple staying in the.
Oh no, I remember.
Yeah,
I remember.
You looked confused.
Well, I was trying to think. Is this the first one that's set like in a town and it's just like people now? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was quite a weird shock, like to the system. Like you see 2 people, crossing the street in a busy little town in Ireland and all that stuff. So it was quite especially after the 2 Romans at the fireside. This was a reasonably funny, not scary, but horror themed short. I'd say it was.
I mean, if it's paranormal, it gets shoved under the horror. Come on, that is for years.
Exactly. But it's not. It is just a comedy short. Really, I'd say well acted. I thought. And
I mean, if it wasn't, it wouldn't have got the laughs.
Exactly.
That is one thing.
And it pays off pretty well, and I thought it was fine to good.
Yeah, it's a premise that I've seen done better.
Yeah.
Not to slight this, but it is a premise I've seen done better.
Yeah.
But for a short, I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it, and I think that it's one of those ones where if this is like what can these people do? Yeah, great.
Yeah.
I fully encourage it because they all did a good job.
Yeah, it wasn't, the horror aspects weren't that inventive, because if you think of someone in bed at night and they're going to get scared by a ghostly presence, what will the ghost do? It'll drag the duvet down off them slowly. It was, yeah, like
Yeah.
It's fine. It's nothing. It's mostly nothing you've not seen before, but the comedy is definitely better than that part of it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm just
Not saying that, and I'm not even saying I can't wait. I want to see what they could do in horror. I just want to see, like, it may be the comedy that they refine and improve, so it's I enjoyed it. It's probably like a 6, and that sounds harsh, but it's just it's good, but it's not one that I'm like dying to tell people about.
No. Yeah. I was scared you're gonna go 7. It's terrifying.
Cool. Is it a 6 then?
Yeah.
Yeah. The next one, penultimate, The Birdwatcher, directed by Ryan McFall. Investigators visit the site of a strange disappearance, a solitary bird-watching hut deep in the forest.
This is a fucking mess. So, this is gonna be hard to even. It's Investigator. It's just Investigator, right? From the get-go, this was weird because it's a detective. We couldn't even agree on that because she basically wanders into this crime scene and starts tasting stuff and touching things with no gloves on, and we were like, "What the fuck? This is weird."
So I think I saw in the credits. It was they were credited as the veteran and the rookie.
So it's ambiguous. Yeah, I was kind of like...
Well, no, I don't think it's that ambiguous. Like, she is on the police force. Like,
well, I thought it could have been a Control, Alan Wake style paranormal investigation thing rather than a
your
criminal investigation
Castles,
thing.
Your Mentalists,
Yeah,
your any kind of procedural where they bring a person with characteristic in to help the police.
But like...
But no, I'm sure she had a police badge. So I think she was just the grizzled veteran.
It's just weird then.
It was weird. I'm not arguing that point. It was definitely weird.
Strange.
It's just that I think they were both police.
All right, okay.
This one's out of our depth. We need to bring in.
Oh yeah, no, I get all
Barbara.
that. I only just was like, they're not police, right? Only because she was, as I say, even a tertiary knowledge of detective stories would have you not go in and be like tasting stuff, looking at things, nearly falling over, acting like a twat. And then it kind of tells the story of the bird watcher. He's watching birds, and then quite annoying. It really irritated me.
And then birds,
but like albatross, which clearly was stock footage, and then the albatross kind of. There's a gate. There's like a gate where there's like a portal and black goo that opens underneath.
And he also the birdwatcher has a little totem.
Yeah, a little
which
totem
definitely plays.
No real reason.
So that's the thing. It's
disjointed.
It's very disjointed. It's too much mystery with not enough explanation on.
There's no explanation. Yeah, but not like, I mean, we talked about Lovecraft. It's not like there's no explanation, and that's good because you don't need to know everything about the otherworldly unknowingness of it. It's just like this happened, then that happened, then that happened, and we were like, what the fuck is actually going on? And it didn't really attempt to, I feel anyway, come together. And I don't know what it was saying at all. I mean, maybe it went right over my head. I don't know what albatross is as a symbol. I mean, albatrosses, I'm not thick enough to not know that albatrosses are symbolic for certain things because they're, I don't know, sailing and everything like that, exploration, perhaps. Like, they do have, they've got, like, mythological symbolism behind them and everything. Don't have a clue what the film was actually doing with all of it, or trying with all of it. It was just weird and it did not work, I thought.
Yeah.
Didn't like it. I don't think many people did. I have 3.
That's fair. But yeah.
God, if it was a feature film, it would have been a 2.
Yeah, but I'm good if it was a feature film. Christ. And our final one, directed by Brian M. Ferguson, Pumpkin Guts. It happens to someone every Halloween. Just follow the rules. Don't get pinched.
This is the one that cost 800 quid, right? I think it was.
I might have missed it or forgotten it.
I think someone mentioned it cost 800 quid, yeah.
If this cost 800 quid.
I think it did. Unless that was maybe...
Bloody hell.
I don't know. Maybe... Well, so this is a strange but not bad. Like, it was quite cool. It was a slightly strange mishmash of a Glasgow setting with an Americana 80s genre horror film sheen. So, like, the character, she's Glaswegian, but she's got, like... They've got, like... I mean, to be fair, my school had yearbooks, but in the 80s, I don't think...
No, it's the whole like aesthetic is very...
the aesthetic,
80s horror movie. 80s high school horror.
80s high school horror movie, yeah.
High side ponytails, lots of neon, kitchen islands, like...
Kitchen islands? They're good now.
No, but I'm just... If you look at American... like, American suburban houses, like, in media...
Yeah.
Like, it looks like Buffy's kitchen. It looks like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The phone on the wall next to the back door, kind of like everything about it is like. And as a person who has grown up in Glasgow, there's not a lot of houses that look that way.
Yeah, exactly.
And streets that look that way.
Exactly. So yeah, it was like they were making an 80s American horror movie, but you know they live in Glasgow, so they just made that work. It was pretty funny, I thought. At times, it was going for like a gory kind of. It was right. So the name Pumpkin Guts, genius. Love the name Pumpkin Guts. Both as the name of the short, and obviously it's the name of the monster. So the conceit is Pumpkin Guts needs body parts as sacrifice. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get the pumpkin at your door, and it's gonna be that's the mess. That's the thing. That's the symbol. That's Pumpkin Guts thing. I'm coming to get you. Clock's ticking, and it's just...
there's a kind of implied. All the kids know and believe it's real, but the adults don't.
Exactly.
Because all the kid, like, you know, it starts with like a milk bottle on the side, that
which
says,
also
like,
is not Scottish.
Yeah, like a milk carton that says with a missing kid on the side.
Yeah.
So like, there's that implied that the kids know about this, but the adults don't.
Yeah, they're even talking about. No, I'm sure she's crossing off pictures in her bloody yearbook of oh, Pumpkin Guts came for him last year. And all that
for Jimmy.
Yeah. Brad, Chuck, Chad. Yeah. So it's one high school girl's attempts to try and escape Pumpkin Guts,
and it's all through. So she's babysitting and she's on the phone to her friend the entire time.
Yeah. Which I thought was an effective way.
It's really good. No, it works really well
to clue us up in a short space of time with what's happened and what's happening now.
And also, like, quick fire jokes. Like, the main girl, Rebecca Murphy, does a brilliant job. Like, comedic timing on point. Carries the whole thing. It's really silly. It reminds me of like it's like Trick or Treat. It reminds me of Trick or Treat. That kind of like, it is horror, but you are laughing even when there aren't jokes. It's funny because it's just so well done. It carries that the whole way through. Even when it's violent and horrifying.
I liked when in character, she was also questioning the rules of Pumpkin Guts. Which isn't stuff that happens enough, I think. She's like, will this work? I don't know. What are the fucking rules to this situation? I thought it was I thought it was really good. That was really well made.
Really well. And I don't know why the Scottish plus that aesthetic worked so well. I don't know if that's just me, but
would that translate anywhere else?
I don't know, but that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's just me, but it did not take me out of it enough. I was just
of course. That's
funny.
Exactly.
I really enjoyed. This is probably an 8 Like,
Yeah, I
this
think
was
so.
really, really good.
I think so.
So overall, and as you said, we're used to, especially at Fright Fest, we're used to short movies coming just before
Yeah.
a feature film. And I think that's not a bad way to do it. You know, you get
Yeah.
a 5 to 15 minute short, and now here's the movie, and we can do that
Yeah,
a
it's just
couple of
old
times.
fashioned, isn't it? And
Yeah. So I think both of us were a bit, wary going into
Yeah.
this, but I would say overall it was more hits than misses.
yeah, I thought the standard was really quite good. I actually they did introduce it by saying this year we had so many great entrants. We just thought, why don't we put them together? And I was like, that better not be fucking bullshit. Because I think we were slightly wary. Have they not had enough entrants this year? Because we got 2 documentaries and a short film showcase. But I actually believed them. I think the bird watching one, get it out. Get rid of it. But that was the only one that I didn't like. And amongst all those others, they were all passing to excellent. So there you go.
And at that point,
fucked
Donald
off.
departs. Yeah, he fucked off.
So I just have to listen to you now.
So 3:20 on the Saturday was Hearts of Darkness, the making of Final Friday.
I'll interject
Directed-
briefly just to say that is part of the reason I left that time rather than watching this one. If this had been a feature film, not a documentary, I would have been tempted to stay and then leave after it.
He's just a bad man.
I just don't watch Shudder documentaries. I just don't.
So, directed by Michael Felcher. In 1993, Jason Voorhees went to hell in one of the most polarizing installments in the Friday the 13th franchise. In this probing documentary, director Adam Marcus, helmer of the Fright Fest Presents Attractions Secret Santa, takes you behind the scenes for a never-before-seen look at the controversial 9th episode in the iconic series. Insightful interviews with the cast and crew explore the unique landscape of pressures and studio scrutiny surrounding the franchise at the time. The hopping from Paramount Pictures to the New Line Cinema paved the way for the eventual Freddy vs. Jason crossover. This was... So, the director... of Final Friday was there, Adam Marcus, and he is the main feature of the documentary. And one thing I will say that goes for this is that he is a very affable person. Like, he
Is he a good spinning a yarn?
Yeah.
Is he funny or is he just like you liked him?
It's a bit of both, but it does also, it gives a decent insight into, how he got the job, how he handled that. He mentioned several times that he was 23 when he got it. And
Was he like not much of a known face at the time?
no, he was a kid. And yeah, he got it is interesting. And it does span, basically the whole production. But at an hour and 47 minutes long, it's a bit long.
Is there a lot of stuff of like footage of the time, or is it all retrospective?
So there's some... It's a lot of retrospective. And the thing that I found quite annoying about it was that a decent chunk of the footage was like cons and things.
Okay.
Like screenings of the movie and him answering questions afterwards. It was a lot, literally like what he was about to do after I watched the movie I was watching. And that's how a lot of that information was put forward to me, is me watching footage from another convention.
Right. So it didn't really work for this festival that you're currently at.
Well, it doesn't there, but I also don't to me, that's not you. There's a certain amount of that's not a fresh perspective. Like, if I'm watching a documentary of a guy that's answered this question 1,000 times before, it gets me wondering why this documentary exists.
Yeah.
And I think without a lot of that, or even if they just condense that into more talking heads or interviews or whatever, rather than using this already, like, you're showing me that it's well-trodden ground.
Yeah.
And that, especially at almost 2 hours, kind of wore thin. Whereas if this was like an hour to an hour 15, I think this would be way more palatable. It's not to say
I was just going to ask, would you have enjoyed it more if they just showed the film and then he just did the Q&A after?
But that's kind of the thing, is that kind of what this movie accomplishes without me watching the movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it just keeps... It kind of, to me, makes itself feel superfluous.
Right.
I don't know if it is or isn't. I'm not one of these people that's super invested in the Friday the 13th franchise and how that movie's so out. Like, it was interesting. Like, I got more out of that because I don't know much about it. But I don't know, like, I'm not invested in that side, so, like, would the person that's super into this not already know a lot of that stuff, given that you're showing me that he's answered this question a lot, and, like, no shade to Adam Marcus, he seems like he enjoys telling the story.
Yeah.
So it's just it seemed way too long for what it is. Like, I think this could really be shorter.
Was this like a glorified Blu-ray extra or something?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like I just don't feel it hits compelling documentary that much.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because I mean the documentaries I mentioned earlier, the ones that I found the best, usually, I mean, let's shelve Last Breath, because that's just an insanely good... That has just been adapted to a feature film, because that's just an insanely good story. But Icarus is a really good documentary because it, like, reveals loads of crazy information as it goes, and it's chopping and changing and stuff like that. So was this strong enough? I'm assuming no. Did it have good moments of, I don't know, like you learned something, you're like, wow, or oh my god, or was it just kind of like, yeah, the studio made us do this and that kind of thing? And I was like, that's why it's a bit bullshit and stuff.
It's not. I mean, there are some interesting aspects to it. Like, you know, they're talking about, well, like, we had this budget, and like we had like the second smallest budget of any of the Friday the 13th movies, and this is what we did because, and a lot of it is about how during the making of it, the cast and crew went above and beyond because they were enjoying the process of what they made. And that's a nice story, but that's not necessarily a compelling documentary.
Yeah, yeah.
There's so many like aspects where it's like the props guys being like, what? We didn't have the budget for that. We just went into the storeroom of Paramount or New Line and grabbed what, like, because we knew what could go missing and what, like, that's cool that you could do that and make that movie, and I'm genuinely not being shitty here about that. Like, that is awesome. Like, that is what more workplaces and movies should be like, but that doesn't necessarily make a good documentary.
Yeah.
I got some interesting insights into how this particular movie was made and the atmosphere behind it and blah blah, but overall, like, nah.
Like, did it tell you a lot about how, like, is it applicable to other films, or was it very this film? Do you know what I mean?
It's very this film. Very this film.
That's not really the answer you want. You want to be like, you learned loads about the movie making industry or something like that, rather than...
it's just like, we all, we here's the actors that were in it, and oh man, we couldn't believe we were doing this at the time. Like... we were there's a lot of people that worked on it being like, God, we were so ahead of our time, or God, it was just even though the movie wasn't as well received as we hoped, like, it is one of the best pieces of work I've ever worked on because I enjoyed it, and it was what we actually put into it is just the most heartfelt work, and I'm like, all right, like,
yeah,
it's and
tooting
again,
their own
it's
horns
not
possibly a bit.
Yeah, especially an hour 47.
Yeah.
So,
At least
yeah.
to someone who's not seen the film, but, you know.
I actually can't remember if I've seen the film or not.
We were gonna do a... That was
Probably, but we're gonna do a lot of them. But yeah, it's just it just didn't make for a compelling long documentary.
Fair.
It didn't.
So what's your score?
And I'm thinking a 5.
Yeah.
Like it might push it into 6 because of those enjoyable elements. Because I did get something from it.
It sounds incredibly niche.
Yeah, and it's niche and it seems a bit self-serving.
Right.
On to the next one, 6 o'clock, The American Backyard, Lotto Americano, directed by Pupi Avati, who he wasn't there, but he's in his 80s, and he seemed to have quite the relationship with the host of Frightfest. Talked quite extensively about their that they've known each other and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Pupi Avati, director of the cult shockers The House with Laughing Windows, Zader and the Arcane Enchanter, returns to his gothic thriller roots with A Tale of Absolute Fear, based on Avati's 2023 novel informed by the infamous true crimes of the monster of Florence. A troubled young man falls in love with an American army nurse during the Italian 1945 liberation. Moving to America, he finds himself living next door to the object of his unrequited affections. Only she has completely vanished, and so begins an incredibly tense investigation into the most terrifying situations surrounding her disappearance.
I googled Pupi Avati, Giuseppe Avati, after this, just because I was like, who is this guy? And yeah, the House with Laughing Windows and Zedar, I don't know that they're particularly, I don't know, like he seems very cult even when talking about Italian giallo directors. Like, I don't think, because I was looking up these films and like, are they good? And it's like, yeah, they're fine. Like, they're pretty good. Yeah, like, I don't think it's like, so I think it's very, he seems niche. Because, I mean, after we watched a couple of them, I started watching more, really enjoyed it. I was looking up, suggestions for ones I should watch. Do not remember these films being suggested. Maybe they were, but they weren't like rolling off people's tongues as what your top 5 or top 10 giallo movies. I don't remember these 2 that he's most known for being like quite in that bracket. So I was like, oh, okay. But he seems very prolific. He's made a lot of films in Italy. So go on then.
This might be the
That was a pause.
most I know, I'm trying to think how to approach this. This might be the most Italian movie I've ever seen in my life.
Okay. After watching the giallo movies we've watched.
After watching the giallo movies we've watched. The still on the website is in colour. Movie's not in colour.
Right.
It's black and white.
Yeah.
And it is to a ignorant Scottish man,
Yeah.
this seems like a parody of like cult Italian cinema.
Right. Based on the films we've watched, kind of thing.
Yeah. Like it's
because you've watched a couple. You've not watched.
I have. Yeah. No, it's not. I'm not completely. I'm not completely.
We've scratched
ignorant.
the surface a little bit.
Yeah. But this, like, for one, this describes it as, gothic thriller, a tale of absolute fear. And I got none of that.
Oh, really?
It seems more this hapless romantic adventure movie that turns darker in its second and third act. It does get dark. It's got, but at no point am I like, horror.
Mm-hmm.
So a big aspect of this is it reminded me in core concept of The Funeral from last year's Fright Fest, which is the Turkish movie about a guy who finds a reanimated corpse. He drives the
Undertaker.
the freezer van.
Oh, right.
But he's not quite an undertaker. He's not even that at that level. He
Background,
just drives the and he falls in love with this reanimated girl. Mm-hmm. And my issue with it is that just seemed like a love letter to the creepy obsession that some men have on women that they know nothing about.
Yeah.
And
Cannot
that's what
know
happens
in that case.
And in this movie's core concept starts with him getting out in a barber shop, and as the Americans drive through it's the liberation of Italy.
Right.
And it's an American car that stops outside, and she walks, and she's gorgeous, and she's, oh my God, and she goes, I'm looking for directions to here, and he turns around and goes, it's an hour that way.
Yeah.
And that's enough for him to fall in love.
Yeah.
That's enough for him to fly across the world several times in pursuit of this.
Love at First Sight as a concept has dated insanely badly in the last decade.
It really has, and there is still ways to do it. But,
of course.
And again, this is cultural as well. Like, I'm aware, but this, like, I literally know nothing about her except she needed directions and she's smoking hot. Like, that's not a compelling movie to me.
Yeah.
And especially with how, you know, the kind of like voiceover, she was beautiful and I had to follow her, and now that I was in America I had to, like, all that kind of cliche that or what I would see as cliche all through the movie. It's not scary. It's just like...
Yeah, I was going to ask what's the actual horror aspects. I think it's called a gothic horror.
The thing is
it stylistically gothic, or...?
No, like, it's depressing. I wouldn't call... Like, the only gothic thing about it is it's in black and white.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of it's kind of a period... It's more a period drama with kind of...
I did look, like, the last few films he's done, like, it's like romantic drama, comedy drama, just drama. Like, he's not
it's drama. Like, this is not horror. Like, I will say there's a serial killer in it, but not in the way you'd expect.
Right.
Like, it's, I mean, because I don't want to spoil too much about this movie,
it's hard,
because it's very, very difficult, especially, like, because anything I spoil, I'm going to have my, like, slightly negative slant because of, spoiler, I wasn't a huge fan of this. Like, I don't want, like, if you are a fan of this type of movie, you might get something out of it. Like, it's like November, but with less horror in it. Like, it's that kind of filmmaking. Right. And I already struggle with that, but then this kind of rambles and goes all over the place and is just... I did not enjoy it.
Right.
And I'm between a 3 and a 4. Like, it's well shot, like, but none of it I find visually interesting. None of it I find, like, compelling to watch. None of the story I found compelling. None of the characters I found that I particularly wanted to follow. His motivations through the entire movie, I'm just... Like, at one point,
it started off badly immediately.
I'm gonna spoil one bit, and it's not really a big plot spoiler, although it does take up a bit of the plot. Is while he's in America, he moves into this house, and his next door neighbor happens to be the decrepit old lady who is the mother of the person he's fawning after. That he met in Italy in a barbershop during the liberation of Italy. Just happens to be in Midtown, Ohio. Iowa. Like, bumfuck Iowa.
If she wasn't, would the film have ground to a halt immediately? Or
probably. And so he begins washing this old woman twice a week.
Oh, her body.
for $1 and to probe her for information about. That's the kind of movie, like.
What was the general mood? Did you get any sense of the general mood after it had finished?
I don't know. There's people that enjoyed A Cloud So High.
I know. No, I know.
And I like, I'm not usually one to like try and overhear as people are walking out, because to be honest, unless
I love
yeah, but I also don't know, like they could be anyone.
Yeah, no, I know.
The biggest critic to the like the most brain dead movie hater in the world, like that goes to that goes to Fright Fest just to hate on it. Like people are weird, and people go to have. So it is. It's. I'm sure someone loved it. Someone loved it. It is just not my movie to almost a T, and I'm still gonna not giving it a like. It's not a 1.
Yeah,
that's a different movie. It's just not for me. So it's a 3 or a 4, and probably because of the way I feel about it, it's a 3.
Right.
But if you know of this guy's work, if you like this guy's style, go watch it. I'm not going to, like, my opinion's not going to stop you.
Who knows?
It's very much that movie, though.
It might be his magnum opus. This might be his Dark Tower. This might be what 40 years of filmmaking has been all leading up to.
This might have been Italy's movie that they put forward for the Academy Awards. I don't know.
I know.
Like, but I'm like, it's so not my cup of tea that I probably wouldn't be able to objectively score it because of that reason.
Yeah.
So second last movie, 8:30, Scared to Death, directed by Paul Boyd, Glaswegian. And I knew very little about this movie going in, and I was like, oh, is this going to be a Scottish movie? No, it's an American movie. He's just like he was like, I'm pure shiting myself. Like, Jasper is a young, opportunistic filmmaker yearning to climb the Hollywood ladder. Working as a lowly production assistant, he seizes his chance to be a real director when he suggests to his cantankerous boss that the crew and actors for their upcoming horror film attend an actual seance in an old haunted house for research. They chose an abandoned children's shelter closed for 70 years since the mysterious murders of 5 children in 1942, apparently discovered scared to death. Once the seance begins, the motley crew find themselves trapped in and haunted by the children and something possibly worse. This is a comedy horror with Lin Shaye, known for, I think, Insidious and the Ouija movie, and Bill Moseley, who plays Rufus T. Driftwood in those Rob Zombie movies. And Ray Don Chong, who has a lesser part, but you might know as Tommy Chong's daughter, and the female lead in the movie Soul Man.
Oh.
Yeah. This is a comedy horror. And I would say, like, genuinely pretty well done. Like, it's, I would say it passes the laugh test. I had a lot of fun with this movie. It's goofy. It does its horror well, or its supernatural aspect well. It's well written. Like, there's no moments where I'm really just like, what are people like? That's my worst thing in horror movies, especially, is like, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
More than just the usual teenager, like, let's all split. It's more just like I've talked about earlier, where character motivations and things just, and I think everything in this is actually lines up to a T. I think every character is for being, each piece being a relative, like, you know, trope or stereotype or whatever you want to call it, of like, we're getting these different people into a room. Like, I think it does a really good job of actually fleshing them out.
What is the central premise?
Yep, they're making Hollywood studios making a horror movie, and to prepare for it, they decide to do an actual seance. So it's like the producer, the cast, and like the producer's assistant.
It almost sounds like a mockumentary.
Oh no, sorry, she's the director. So Lin Shaye plays the director, and she is a total piece of shit. She plays it amazingly, like full on just horrible like boss. Does it perfectly. All the cast do a great job all the way through. Have good chemistry with each other. It's a fun, like, haunted house romp kind of like comedy horror.
Is it going for scares, or is it maybe not quite?
It's not quite going for scare. It might get you a couple of times, but it's more going for like, fuck, these people are at a like fake, not fake seance, and things are turning bad. And it does it really well. Like, it's not gonna like break the mold. It's not gonna like be hugely standing out in this space, but I had a really good time with it. Like, it's fun, it's well written, all the actors do a good job, and it is genuinely one I would recommend. Like, see if you're having a horror movie. We were having a horror movie night, and we wanted a lighter one to watch that we would actually enjoy. Here's one to fire right in. It's good. It is a good movie, and there's not, for there not being enough good horror movies these days, there's not enough good comedies these days, and I had fun with this movie.
All right.
Yeah, I would give it a 7, and I'm very happy with that. Like, no, like, 6 would be a crime. 8, you would have it is that kind of
crime.
Like, no, it would like
outrageous.
It would be outrageous.
The police are going to come and get you.
Yeah, I'm sure plenty of people would give this a 6 because it is unoffensive, it's fun, but I enjoyed it, and it's well done. I've seen this done worse.
All right, very good.
And we finish up with 10:45 Rumpelstiltskin directed by Andy Edwards. Now, I will say, well, I'll read the synopsis first. A haunting tale of the scariest villain from our collective childhood returns, only darker, bloodier, and nastier this time. Once upon a time, Miller attempted to marry his daughter off to the king by promising she could spin straw into gold. With the help of a demonic imp, she completes the task, but the king becomes greedy and wants more, so she promises the imp her firstborn in return for yet more favours. But when it comes time to honour her bargain, dark forces merge when the imp makes a deal with the devil. Going into this, I was very, 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 very wary, and that's because we watched Winnie the Pooh and Honey.
Yeah,
it just is. Like, it is. Like, you can't not have that in your head going into this Frightfest movie. And I am so glad to say it is not that. It is pretty much what it says on the tin. It is a dark, horror-y take on Rumpelstiltskin.
Is it a fairy tale? Like,
yeah,
right.
Well, what would you mean? It's Rumpelstiltskin.
No, I know, but it's not. Yeah, so it's not Rumpelstiltskin in the real world. It's
it's medieval-ass times.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's England.
Yeah.
Like, it is medieval fantasy land. Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah.
Go. And it's dark, and we've made it dark. Not necessarily like edgy dark or like super over the top horror dark. It's just dark, and the prosthetics are good, and it's clearly low budget, but this is an all right movie. Like, I want that to be more of a compliment than it sounds.
Yeah.
Like,
but compared to your expectations, I mean, This is the director of Ibiza and Dead, starring Super Hands, and a horror take on Punch from Punch and Judy. So we were a bit wary.
Yeah, and I can see why going in, but like, the acting is serviceable. Some people are better than. I will say the guy that plays Rumpelstiltskin does a great job. Between that and the prosthetics, it's really good. Like, that alone is worth like. if you were curious about this movie, like, go watch it just for that, because he does such a good job. Everyone else, it's relatively serviceable. I think one of the guys I was with had like didn't have great words about the main actress. I thought she did a totally fine job.
Right.
Like, she is a bit over the top, but she is a princess in a dark fairy tale. I was like, you're doing exactly what you need to do. I genuinely thought this is a really good attempt at what they set out to do.
All right.
I don't think I'm going to be raving and ranting about it for the next years to come and being like, oh, I wish we'd got another Rumpelstiltskin, but I cannot fault this movie for what it set out to do and for what it accomplished.
Yeah.
I'd probably say a 7. Like, a 6 would be less criminal, but I think that might just be, I could see someone giving this a 6 of like, well, right, it was meh, but you know me, I appreciate effort and appreciate what people are trying to do with their movie. It's why I think Dune is one of the David Lynch one is one of the worst movies ever, is because of what it had, what it set out to do, and what it actually accomplished.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I applaud movies like this, because like, it's hard to make movies, especially small ones, and to make something like this, like, I just have to genuinely like applaud what they've done.
Yeah.
So 7 out of 10. Yeah. Like, I'm
what
sure
a turn up for the books. It's not like Steamboat Willie, Screamboat, whatever, and all those other things.
Yeah. Like, better than Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. Like, yeah. So overall, I found it an all right Fright Fest. I just found it quite middling.
Yeah.
And it's like, I prefer hard swings. Like, see if you've got like 3 movies that are a 5, 3 that are a 9, 3 that are a 1. Obviously not exactly like that. That's very hard to do. But that's my ideal, because I like that variety. But this seemed very much like, they're all fine.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing that blew me away, really. There's nothing that, like, I mean, House of Ashes was by far the worst, and that was the opening movie.
Yeah.
And when that is, like, and by far, that was the worst movie.
Yeah.
So, really, like, it was just a very middle of the road.
Yeah. I think hopefully next year, I would quite like them to have a good marquee kind of event
movie
for the, because I mean,
so I don't know, like, I had never heard of Pigeon Shrine before last year. And I was like, but I think it was Shudder and Arrow they've had as sponsors before, and I do think the movie quality was higher there than it has been since it's, and I don't know if that's anything to do with it, but that's just the feeling. Still an interesting mix. I think having 2 documentaries and a short film showcase, it's not that would not automatically be too much. It's just knowing what we know from 6 years and for the 20th anniversary. Yeah,
the 20th anniversary was kind of mentioned a few times. It is a bit like, not really saving up for the 25th, are we? All right, okay.
I like, and it is funny. I say funny. It's, you know, when you watch movies like The Doombusters and Rumpelstiltskin, and we watched Saint Maud with Q&A afterwards. We've watched like Jolie Richardson was there for Little Bone Lodge. We've got name's escaping me. Emily Hampshire from Mommy from last year.
Daisy Ridley.
Daisy Ridley.
In the Halloween last year.
And they're always asking them, like, you know, what you got next and blah blah blah. And then you get to the lowest of the low budget movies. And they're like, so what you got next? And they're like, oh, our London tabernacle shop is closing. Or just I'm hoping to I'm hoping this.
Hoping to eat dinner.
And then that's again not like being an actor is hard unless you're a millionaire.
Yeah.
That's it. That's how it goes. So I totally sympathize with it, but it's just so bizarre seeing the hard swings between people who are like, they've got the producer and I've got 2 or 3 things in the works and we'll just see how that works out. And then you've got like, the producer for Custom from last year was there promoting another one of these movies. And, and I enjoyed Custom. I thought it was quite good. And, he's talking about, I'm trying to get this and this off the ground. And then you've got the actors or director who are like, yeah, I'm just hoping that I can keep doing this.
Yeah.
So it's why I always love going to, especially this, we love horror movies.
Yeah.
And I enjoy supporting them, to be honest, regardless of the quality, because it's interesting to see what people are coming up with and what festivals can get and like all the other shit that goes on around this. I find it fascinating. And yeah, it's so as things go, it was pretty middle of the road, but I've also seen a lot worse movies.
Yeah, for sure. I think maybe my opinion overall is probably higher because sounds like I kind of missed the kind of dull documentary and the really polarizing but not in an interesting way film. So do you know what I mean? So overall, my impression of it it's probably, I thought it was quite good, but I think your average has been dragged down slightly by those 2 that I missed.
But also I think those last 2 I did enjoy, and I think that helped me a lot. I think Saturday had a like see if we went straight into like a decent a decent fiction movie after the short films showcase. Because to be honest, you had like a decent a pretty good first day, to be honest.
Then
you had A Mother's Embrace, which was fine. And then what was a really strong short film showcase. So you actually ended on a
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. Whereas
the end of both my days since I ended Saturday early were both really good.
Whereas it got pulled down a wee bit. Heart of Darkness, American Backyard was a struggle for me. But then it kind of evens out towards the end. It's just not the strongest end I've ever seen.
Yeah, we'll see what next year brings.
I think for especially, I mean, I tend to go into these with as little knowledge as possible and with little expectation as possible. You 3 do not. So I only had what you guys were going on, and that was a lot of like, I don't know about that, and I was so for what you were putting forward, I think it was actually a pleasant surprise.
Definitely the documentary and the could I edit this bit now? No, I don't. Fuck it, my headphones fell out. The sausage is made. The documentary and the short film showcase, both of which I wasn't really looking forward to, were both good,
better than you expected.
Very good. So I've learned to not judge. I'm not going to judge as quickly or harshly. I've not learned shit. Anyway.
So we have no idea if we will be going to London or Halloween. We just make these, but I at least will be back next year for Frightfest.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll be back if I'm here. No, I'll be back. God.
You mean because in case we're still in Japan?
Yes, exactly. Because we're still in Japan. We're going back to Japan. We're in Japan. We're back to Japan. What are we going to see? Don't know.
Cool. Well, we'll figure that out while we're on the freighter that carries our caravan to and from.
To and from. I don't know why we had to come back for it. Oh, Jesus. Pain in the arse.
Yeah. Well.
On that note.
Well, neither of us have paid rent, so we need to sleep in the caravan. Right.
All right.
Fare thee well till next year.
Good night. God bless. Bye.
Bye.